popping with the population? This is Dre. I'm back podcasting again. Got a lot to talk about, but this is just like an intro episode because I'm changing the name of the podcast now to better suit me and fit what I do, because I don't cut my own hair because it's annoying and it takes a lot of skill, and I didn't go to school for it. I did a little bit in Thailand one time, and I was like, yeah, that's enough. And then I was going to the bar buffet. Shout out to her. She loves giving people fades, and I don't mean like fights or whatnot. Like, she just has this obsession with everybody who gets a haircut gets a fade. I don't know what breaking movie or whatever she might have saw in her day, but that's what she does. So now the podcast is called Durag with the Cape Roll, because anytime I wear my do-rag, I always tuck the cape in. I always roll it up because I don't like the cape to swing about, pause, because I don't want it to hit you while I walk by, because I'm not going to say sorry. Nevertheless, like I said, I was in Thailand for the past couple months. I think I got to fight about once. It was like right after I came off the plane, I had lost because I was just dog tired. Just making bad decisions for myself in that regard, but I got some advice that I took to heart about that, and yeah, I'm learning to say no and just take care of myself and do it smart, because I only get one body and I only got a few more, well, I'm only going to do this for a few more years career-wise, so might as well play it smart and end out how I want to end out. Nevertheless, you may be wondering why I sound like I'm doing a smooth jazz radio station or about to whatever have you. I got a walking pneumonia and a throat infection while I was in Thailand. So now I guess my voice just sounds like this. If you know who Tone Loc is, this is who I now sound like. If you ever seen CJ and the Bear, then we homies, because that show was fire. It used to come on Fox. Kids, just Fox, when I was a kid. And it was one of like the only two black cartoons that I saw at the time. It was that and like Wayne had. Nevertheless, I don't know, like the podcast still going to relatively be the same. I mean, just talking about what's going on. Like, while I had pneumonia and the throat infection, I was just sitting in my room like Brandy. And if you know who that is and you know that song, then you should be watching this. If you don't know, then do your Googles. Nevertheless, sitting in my room, just reading, trying to find ways to keep myself entertained. I taught myself how to pray in Arabic. The way I did that was I just kept listening to the Arabic prayers over and over and over again and just memorize them like a song, because the Quran kind of sounds like a song. Like if you listen to recitations of it or whatever, it sounds like someone's singing. Well, that someone is singing. And so if you kind of just listen to it like that, then for me, that helps me pick stuff up. Like I like music. So I did that, while I was sitting there doing that, reading and learning about a lot of other stuff. Obviously there's wild stuff going on in global news to get people to care about stuff or figure out what you should be afraid of. And so, you got Israel and Gaza, or whatever have you. And the arguments with that, and the just misunderstandings and misconceptions and the yellow journalism and the false flags and just a lot of lies. It's not a lot to go into because I'm not about to do all of that. I mean, I could talk to you one-on-one about it, or if I had I could talk to you one-on-one about it, or if I just felt like spending about 30, it really would take about 15 to 30 minutes to talk about that. I would do that, but basically what it is that European Jews who were kicked out of wherever they were kicked out of was trying to find a place to be. In that midst of trying to do that, there was a Jewish dude who started Zionism who was like, yo, we've been kicked out. We've been kicked out wherever we've been kicked out. We need a place to be. So Zionism is nationalism. We need a state. We need a place to be, right? At the same time, during that time when they were trying to figure out where they was going to be going, there was already Jewish people living in Palestine, because Palestine was predominantly, well, it was Muslim Arabs, Muslim Christians, Muslim Arabs, what am I saying? Muslim Arabs, well, Arab Muslims, sorry, that was a folly, my fault. Arab Muslims, Arab Christians, and Arab Jews, and then European Jews, and other people that lived there. It was a mixed bag of people that lived there, while Palestine was still under the Ottoman Empire. And while they were under the Ottoman Empire, the British and the French or whatever was like, yo, Palestine, if y'all help us defeat the Ottoman Empire, we'll, let y'all, rock out, and we won't try to colonize y'all or use any imperialism and let y'all do your own thing. But also, could you also take the Jewish people that have been exiled from places and let them be here on some settlements? Just a little bit of stuff, nothing major. It was like, yeah, sure, we got you. So boom, did that. Palestinians helped them. Right after they did, it's the Zionist dude and everybody else moved in. Like I said, he was on Zionist time. Again, Zionism and Judaism are not the same thing. Do not conflate the two. They moved in, and when they came in, the settlement stuff kind of went wonky, where it was like, yo, we said this, and this. What's happening right now? And then the Palestinians went to the British, like, yo, what's good with your mans? And they like, and they just hung up and left. And during that time, 1948 happened. Because, yeah, this conflict is not that old. It's basically your mother or grandmother long ago. The Nakba happened. The Nakba, if I'm not mistaken, in Arab means great catastrophe or whatever have you. They displaced and killed a lot of Palestinians to take land. And in that time, they took wild land. They've been committing the government of Israel has been committing mad crimes against humanity since their inception. One of the biggest ones was the Nakba, and then you had the 6-Day War, which was between Israel, Jordan, I think Syria, and Egypt, where they were annexing more land. And when they did, annexing basically is a fly word for stealing. When they did that, you know about like the Gaza Strip, where they keep bombing indiscriminately. That's like 25 meters long and 5 miles wide or whatever, like 3 kilometers wide. So it's like 25 by 5. It's not the Gaza Strip isn't a big place. It's like 25 by 5. So I think 25 miles long, 5 miles across, if I'm not mistaken. That was a part of Egypt. They annexed that from Egypt. And when they did that, like, a lot of this stuff is documented in the UN about like, yo, y'all committing wild crimes. When they did that, they was like, that was wild illegal. Y'all can't do that. They're like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, Israel, they've been doing what they've been doing since, like I said, the 40s, the 1940s. And the reason being is because they're in cahoots with the Western power structure in regards to colonialism and imperialism, was basically what the Western world wants to do is dominate the whole world, in that they want to have influence and power over everything, and you need friends with guns that you sell guns to, and they sell wild guns to Israel. But again, going to that, but like I said before, do not conflate Zionism with Judaism, especially because that's what they want you to do. Because anytime you talk about Israel as a state, people call you anti-Semitic, which doesn't make any sense, because Arab people are Semitic, and that's by definition. And then like they don't show like the Jewish people who are against all of this stuff, like from everywhere. Like when the first set of hostages, like they're showing the hostages now, and then it was like talking about that little girl, like a 4-year-old who lost her parents that were killed. They talking about the hostages, but there was like people that got released before them. There was an older woman who was a peace activist who was released, and there's video and pictures and news articles like from reputable sources. And when you're looking into your sources, always make sure you're not just reading stuff that kind of goes with your myopic view. You always want to read things that try to catch tone, so that way it's easy for you to be able to discern and figure out what's going on. Critical thinking. Nevertheless, older Jewish lady was like, yo, yeah, they wild out. They hit me, whatever. They was on bullshit. The ladies helped us out, giving us feminine products and stuff like that, and they fed us. and she was adamantly blaming, like, and pissed, and adamantly blaming, and also just like enraged by Benjamin Netanyahu, the war criminal. Like, yo, you're the reason this is like this. Like, you guys have made this situation a situation that can't come to discourse. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And, you know, they never put her up. Like, she was one of the first people that got released as one of the hostages. They never put her up. And there's a picture of her shaking one of the Hamas dude's hands, like one of her captors' hands. Not in a, like, oh, Stockholm Syndrome kind of way, like in a, yo, I get it type, like, I know what's going on. And then there's also a video of, you know, Israeli people in hospitals screaming at people, of representatives of Israeli government in regards to what's going on. Nevertheless, like I said, I'm going to this all day. Just understand that that it is not a war, it is a genocide, because a war takes two sides fighting over a thing. And what is that thing? Exactly. Nevertheless. So yeah, you see that going on in the news right now. A bunch of people are defaulting on debt. That's big now. Everybody is broke, supposedly, but still people are here getting money. So just get money. They're saying that a lot of people are defaulting on their credit cards, which I think is pretty hilarious. Not that the people are like in debt, but the fact that they're trying to make it like, yo, it's wild how these people out here just spending crazy chicken and they're not paying back the debts. It's like, fam, first of all, for the most part, all of those credit cards and loans is all predatory. Like, you come at people in ways, you put people in positions to not be able to get themselves out of the debt that they're in. It makes absolutely, what I'm saying is, like, you make food costs super high. You make housing super high. You make utilities super high. You make schools, you make all of these things almost out of reach, and you hike the prices up to almost innumerable numbers, and you figure, like, how these people in debt, like, you're creating this system that you know why you want it that way, because you'll make money if they're in debt, because those people will keep trying to find a way to pay it. Yeah, there'll be some people that completely default and never cash you out, and like whatever, yeah, bankruptcy and yada yada yada. But for the most part, everybody that's on that type of time who got debt and whatnot, they just paying off the balance, paying off the interest, so they getting their money. So it's just a bunch of loan sharking happening. Like, if it's a finesse, they just finessing you. That's all this is. It's a big finesse. The system of money is just a finesse, because especially after they took away the gold standard. And the gold standard, that happened during like the Nixon administration. That wasn't that long ago. Like, well, I mean, it was long ago, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they took that away. And all gold is just a thing that you gave value to. And the thing that you gave value to a piece of paper that you gave value to. And then you took the gold away because you couldn't, the reason they took the gold standard away is because you couldn't match the gold for the paper that you was passing out. So it's like you was flexing, but you ain't really had nothing to back it. Like, basically, it's like if somebody borrowed a rental and was acting like it was theirs, and the rental was from a friend. Like I said, so it's like, what are we doing? Type shit. Nevertheless, like, the game is wild. So just pay attention the best you can, and try to be as objective about the information that you take in as possible, because now you're running around and being stupid. Because at the end of the day, like, a lot of this that's going on is just super weird. Like, they want you to be on like their type of time. Like, they want you to worry and stress and freak out about all that's going on and all that's going down. But yeah, just like I said, pay attention, because when you factor in how it seems that everything that has ever happened within human society so far has been cyclical, you just have to kind of follow the patterns, follow the trends, and learn how to ride the wave, pause. Because you look at like the Great Depression, the 2008 financial crisis. You look at the bubonic, not the bubonic plague. Damn, I forgot. Whatever that sickness was, and you look at COVID, like you look at all of these things that kind of like, they all line up. They all, and it's not even some prophetic kind of situation. Is humans are creatures of habit. And being a creature of habit inside of a constructed thing, because society isn't necessarily natural. It's something that we made to make work for us because we think that's the thing that we're supposed to be doing. But it's not necessarily natural because there's still Aborigine people living in like Australia who are still alive. If the Australians didn't already kill all of them, that's a whole nother pod in and of itself. Who like making it, who do they thing, they live in or you look at people like who live in Hawaii, like who are making it work within like living in like wooded areas and jungles and whatnot. Like so it just lets you know that society is a construct. It gets built. It's something that we just kind of are adhering to. It's not something that we have to kind of roll with. So So when if you get all flustered by what's going on, just kind of realize that just ride the wave, pause, and figure it out. Like it's not, and obviously I'm not trying to downplay or diminish anybody's plight or anything that's going on in your life, but just understand that you can do something about it if you try to do something about it. And if you are not within the space that you feel like you can do something about it, really get that it's not the end of the world. And if it is, then, I pray that there's somebody with you through that. And if there's not, just always remember that it's not the end of the world. And I'm not even trying to get on something like I said, like, like the next step of this is like, whatever we go to, just realize it's that serious, but it's not that serious. It's a funny type of web we've weaved, creating the current society that we live in, because there's winners and there's losers in this, and the winners, they just operate from a place of thinking that they can get away with it until they don't. And so that's why they try to suppress anytime anybody is like, this is not how it's supposed to be. For instance, like the older woman who was released from Hamas, the peace activist, who was like, what they did was wild. This sad, terrible, crazy kind of act that they did. But realize that your government started this. And then also, I just want to say, it's funny that you call Hamas a terrorist organization when they are a government that was voted in, not necessarily unilaterally. But they were voted in, and not everybody in Palestine messes with Hamas, and they also quiet those people, just like Israel quiets those people, because there's been multiple protests in Israel for years about Netanyahu, and they've arrested a lot of people. They've silenced a lot of people. One dude recently was on Democracy Now! He was a teacher or whatever, and he posted something on Facebook, and I think he got arrested for it. So, they suppressing information, but to call them a terrorist organization and not call yourself a terrorist organization is wild. And then also to link Hamas with Palestinian people every time you kind of talk about Palestine, but then be like, this is okay. But then when somebody talks about the Israeli government, like, not that everybody who's talking about the Israeli government is talking about Jewish people, but when they do, you call that anti-Semitic. That's, you just playing the game. So I advise you to just pay attention, to what's going on out there. And also, make sure when you put your do-rag on that you tuck the cape.